Hi printmakers, Mr. D here. I just wanted to kind of give you a few tips on how to set up your first watercolor monotype. As you can see, I got a few things ready here. I've got my really crappy set of watercolor paints because I left mine at school, so I ran out to Walgreens and bought this delightful thing. It's pretty awful, but I think it's going to get the job done. I also have my little cup of water here, my handy dandy watercolor brush, and courtesy of Drew Briggs, I have this old watercolor monotype plate. I'm kind of curious to see if the Drew Briggs comes on it. So jury's still out on that one. But we've always been experimental, so hey, why not? So you don't have to do this part right here. Like I was thinking, well, let's just see what I can do. I'll print out a copy. I kind of have Photoshop at my disposal. You can, if you really want to do an actual image first, you can always take a picture, upload it to Drive, throw it in even if you've got Microsoft Paint or whatever equivalent you might have. As long as you crop it to 3x5 and print it at 3x5, you should be in good shape. And the imagery, you know, I can't do anything seriously, so that's so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plate here and just set it over top, and most of my image shows through. Really doesn't matter where you start painting. As I said in the directions, it is really hard to mix an accurate skin tone, so you can have a little fun with arbitrary color. I think on mine I'm going to do the one I mentioned to you and do a little blue-green and yellow-green for my highlights and shadows. I might actually stick to some normal colors too if I got them. Like I don't have blue eyes, but I might throw a little blue on here. Just a couple reminders about watercolor. The less water you use, the easier it is to control. So if you throw a bunch of water on here like this and you just start painting now, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to want to at least blot the brush off on the side. And just doing that alone will get me a wash. If I get some, this is still an incredible amount of water. So for example, if I take some of this orange and I go in here, you can see it's spreading really thin, if you can see that at all. Again, high quality paints we're dealing with here. So I'm gonna rinse this out here. If I press on the side of the cup and then I dip, or I touch the brush to the paper towel that I've got here, and just get the tiniest amount of orange on my brush, then I can control it a lot better. I can get some real nice crisp lines, thin as they may be, and I can control that paint a lot better. And there's, you know, if you're going for a wash, then by all means, don't dab your brush. But if you want to be able to control it, then you definitely want to have a paper towel handy. So I think just for kicks, I'm going to try and put some of this blue on my eye and see what that looks like. As I go, I'm just going to kind of paint it on. And remember, you want this to dry on here. We don't need to make it super wet. As long as you get some color there, you're in good shape. And if you're worried about your colors bleeding, if you are putting a lot of water on there, you just let it dry in between and then go on to the next one. Like I may just let this dry a little bit before I go painting the black of the pupil in there. But I like the way it's staying in place. Drew, when you sanded this, you did a heck of a job, buddy. So, it's staying put really nicely. So I'm going to rinse my brush there. And I think, I believe I said I was going to do a yellow-green, blue-green, and red as split complementary color scheme here. So just for kicks, I'm going to start with some shadows here. And we'll just do the old mustache here in red. Let's see how that goes. If I want to make it a little heavier, I can always add some black to it too. Nothing wrong with that. Just add a little value, but for right now this seems to be working pretty well. I'm having a really hard time seeing where my upper lip is, but you know, we can deal. Let's kind of go like that for now. Maybe I'll throw my upper lip in there and I'll pretend a little bit. We'll try some green. So a little bit of green here, and I might actually do a little wet on wet blending here. So I'll paint on some green first, and then I'll rinse, blot, and immediately grab some yellow and add that into the mix and just kind of swish around a little bit. That's a little bit of a wet on wet mix if you're a watercolor person. I'll leave that there and we'll see how that looks. I can move on from there. Throw a little green on here. And you just kind of have a little fun with it. So once you fill it up, it's going to take a while. I mean, you could finish it all in one fell swoop, but I have a feeling you're going to want to do this in a couple days' time because it's just nice to work in layers. And, you know, well, you get your base layer on there, and then you can go over it again with some other colors too once these are dry. And it won't take too long. As I look at my iris over there, it's already starting to dry up. But have a little fun, and we'll plan on, like I said in the directions, we'll plan on Wednesday or Thursday. I'll shoot you out some of those directions. I'll try and get you a video of me printing with my car. But in the meantime, happy painting and good luck with your first watercolor monotype. I'll see you later.